Friday the 19th of September, and I'll say hello to you for a minute. Still got on vertigo. It'll be changed today because I don't know why I thought that the Ogdenetzel premiere was last night. It's tonight. So I'll be changing to go out. Cheers, people. Who's talking to me this morning already? I have my Facebook page opened up. I'll probably close it here. Okay, people like my pictures. I like to change my Facebook picture, profile picture, and top picture every day. It's just something to do. It's just something to do, so I do that and change those every day. So, yesterday was 2 days in a row of wonderful ears, and today it's back to the usual whoosh. And so, consequently, knowing that a second day in a row of good ears is a blessing, I spent most of the day pretty leisurely doing nothing, listening to music and watching TV. One of the things that I watched that was interesting is Shoreline Entertainment is a company I noticed that's doing a lot of music documentaries, and new ones keep popping up, which is nice. So yesterday I watched most of a documentary about Pink Floyd's Adam Hart mother. This is the first Pink Floyd album that I ever owned. No, this is not my high school copy. God only knows what happened to that. But it's how I bonded with Buck Naked. His name was Phil. Buck Naked of the Bare Bottom Boys. Winona's Big Brown Beaver. That video by Primus. The plastic figures, that's Buck Naked and the guys. And it looks like Buck, like Phil. Anyway, I'll never forget this. It was like an English class where the assignment was for us to bring to class the next day a piece of music that we can illustrate. And Phil brought Hot Rats, if I'm not mistaken. It was Hot Rats. It was Frank Zappa, and I brought this. And we immediately bonded because we were the two weirdos. Everyone else brought pretty much what you would expect from that time period. I'd have to look at the charts, but 1970. But this documentary was good because I actually learned something about this album that I sensed from the very first, when I first heard this album as a teen. I thought to myself, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why is this so dour and sour and moving like this? It didn't seem right. Didn't like it at first. It took me forever to get into the Adam Hart mother side. Turns out Ron Geeson, they talked to him in the documentary. He was hired to work with Pink Floyd on this album, and in the documentary he reveals that they didn't get it right. The orchestral part, that's not what he intended, and there was no money to redo it, and he was half out of his mind, so he didn't conduct. And the conductor did not understand what Ron Geeson meant. It was supposed to be lively. He said he was hoping for a Duke Ellington type of treatment of his score. That's not what happened at all. And I thought to myself, whoa, that's why. It wasn't supposed to be all moody and dour and slow moving, and from the very first listening to it, I said, "What's wrong with this picture?" That was a revelation. It was good to learn that. It wasn't what they intended at all. Also, so we'll move on to music. Let me close this. The other day when I showed the Southwest FOB Smell of Incense album, a couple folks reminded me that that song was originally put out by the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band, which I have. However, I first heard the song by Southwest FOB long before I scored a copy of this. It's an original. But I thought I'd mention that because I know the backstory to this band and Bob Marley. It's shades of Epstein. Do you guys know the story about this guy? How he, not unusual, that he was using the band and hooking up with these younger teens at a party, the band, much younger than him, mainly to score young girls. And it's in the lyrics, not all the songs, but in some of the lyrics. And once even though I was familiar with the whole idea of people using their clout for sex to get sex, when I heard the Bob Marley story, it kind of creeped me out. And I have this one too. This one is a reissue, a pretty one. I was having a conversation actually with the guys in RAF about this and about our legacy and my personal legacy on the punk scene and the music scene in general, which is I was the older guy in the band, but I wasn't there to glom on the chicks or the boys. I was there for the music. And I'm proud of myself. I don't know what the other band members did. They were younger than me. But I've always honored that boundary between myself and the audience and the community, which is you don't take advantage of people because you have the power to. That's happened a lot in the entertainment industry. It continues to this day. Actually, it continues in all walks of life. People who have the money and the power to take advantage of those with less, they do. Always. It never changes. Which has a lot to do with why Jimmy Kimmel being suspended that should be overturned. It's a travesty. Anyway, besides that documentary, I did a lot of polling of stuff because I haven't listened to it forever. One record is going to go because I bought this mainly because I met the guitarist in the band, Sky King. Secret sauce. Rick Jacoby is a visual artist guitarist who I met through the internet. I'd always liked this cover. One of Dave Brubeck's sons was in this band too, Chris Brubeck. I don't like this album, never have. It's that Little Feat type of sound, which I never liked Little Feat. I know Little Feat is good, but I don't like that southern style. I don't like it. So when I pulled this, I didn't even have to play it. I was keeping it because I had met Rick and his wife. But interestingly, over time, communicating with them, and if you see this, Rick, I ain't lying, started talking right-wing QAnon conspiracy stuff, and I said, okay, I'm done here. But that's going, because it's no reason to keep it. Here's one where I'm going to keep it but I think it's, especially lyrically, just awful. Another example of what I consider kind of misogynistic type of lyrics from the 60s and 70s. Rumpelstiltskin. Excuse me. I've had this for quite a while, and I've I've never liked it. When I first came across it, it was talked about as a collectible. Why, I don't know. The music is kind of bluesy rock, but the lyrics are just terrible. They're just really cringe worthy, terrible, sexist, stupid lyrics. Music's okay. It's kind of an oddity, and I like I said, stuff from my past like this. It's a keeper. Completely unrelated. Just decided to listen to it. Section 25, Love and Hate, Factory Records band. An interesting band. From the very beginning, they were very shambolic. Sounded like they could barely play and could not sing, and yet it has something. And on this album, it's the same. The drums sound like they were recorded like in a basement without any consideration for the sound. So the sound is real amateur sounding. And the songs and the singing, everything is shambolic, and yet it's got this something. I really like this. When they get to by the time they get to the song Warhead on side 2, I listened to the whole album. This is interesting that it's so, as I described it, and yet so good. There's just something about this album, this band. I think a couple of brothers, and then one of them passed away, and their daughter kept the band going, something like that. That's section 25. One of the more obscure Factory Records bands that I think is really good. Slap Pratique. It's really just one person, and this is interesting. This is cool. I love stuff like this. This goes back, I think it's around 1985. So this is early, still early, messing with, I don't think he has an emulator on here, does he? Because it's a mixture, of electronics and saxophone and tabla, hand drums. It's a very unique sound. Not like the Residents, but it kind of weird, good. Pratique. Here's one that someone sent to me, and it's a Polish band, possibly to do with university or something. RSC. And this is the Polish language is a mouthful. It's not very, doesn't sound very rock and roll at all. So the vocals on here are kind of like hard for me to take. It's like this just doesn't even flow. Languages have their own setting, and a lot of languages work with rock music. This language and the Russian language, to me, are clumsy sounding. So this is possibly a student band, I think. Someone sent this to me. If you sent this to me and let me know. But anyway, it's sort of proggy and sort of pop. If anything, they sound a bit like Kansas. But they can play, and they try, pardon me with the taking of the glasses on and off, it's just me and my idiosyncrasy. There's parts where the music is kind of inventive, but overall it's just kind of, oh, it's okay, but it's an oddity, so it's a keeper. Not an oddity, but just a fantastic album. Cutouts, The Smile. I listened to all of this yesterday with good ears. This is really good. I like everything about it, including the subtle message, if you want to call it that. But what I sense about Tom York and Johnny Greenwood is that their whole aim with this is to make art that will last. Music that lasts. That has depth. This is really good. Really everything about it. It's killer. Killer. Cutouts. I was in the S's, so we'll see some S albums. I think they're from Canada, I think. Single Gun Theory. I encountered them through MTV 120 Minutes, and it stood out because it was slightly ambient, with a beat that was very much of that moment, late 80s. And so this has aged a bit, but I still like it. They used the spoken word when people used to do that stuff off the news and stuff. Electronic. Single Gun Theory. Mostly good, but again, a bit of a dated sound. So I did some Susie. Did I do 2 albums or 1? Okay. So I decided to play this. I think this is their last album, studio album. And it was over. In many ways, it probably it's just my opinion because I love the Susie. One of the best concerts I've ever been to was seeing them. But it's like, they didn't need to make this record because they were out of ideas. This album is really weak. And I like Susie and the Banshees. I'm keeping it. I have a collection of their stuff. And this is a glow-in-the-dark album. But this album, the material on this album is weak. Weak. And they tried a couple things where they're repeating themselves. Well, we did this before. Let's try a new version of that. Really pretty lousy. Pretty lousy. Because in comparison, Tinderbox, I listen to this. Now this is Susie and the band at their best. Kiss in the Dream House is probably my favorite by them. But this is really good. And 92 Degrees is, to me, a standout on here. It's like, that's a killer track. Including the lyrics. But for the most part, Susie, it's always been more about the sound of her voice and her presence that I like. And the band, I've always liked the band, and I do think that they shortchanged the original guitarist and drummer. I think that they were very important in establishing the sound of the band, and were not valued. And they left. I understand them leaving. I think that they helped to establish the sound of Susie and the Banshees, and don't get the credit for it. Another direction completely. It was because I found a video of Hermeto Pascoal. In particular, I was looking up stuff about him and came across a midnight special clip of Flora Purim that I don't remember ever seeing, where they're playing this title track, Open Your Eyes, You Can Fly. Sorry about the ring wear, Flora, on your face. She was Ayrton Moreira's wife, the percussionist drummer. They're from Brazil. This is wonderful, wonderful Brazilian jazz rock, whatever you want to call it. It has such a spirit, melody, kick-ass playing, the band. I mean, geez, George Duke Indugu, Alfonso Johnson, Egberto Gismonti, and Hermeto. There he is with his long locks, looking super cool. Hadn't played any Flora Purim for a while. I've got a few of her albums. This is fantastic and uplifting. People music, life music, wonderful, wonderful music. Flora Purim. I needed that. Back to digging into obscurities in my collection. Paul Woznicki. Woz. This is one that you still had that huge new music distribution service sticker that I just hated how they used to do that with records. But this is one that used to pop up in the used a lot. And it took me a while to finally get to bother with a copy of it. One-man synthesizer, kind of noodly. Really don't compare him to anyone. It's okay. It's okay. But it's a keeper. A few more. This one I didn't play much, but it was like, I remember this is really well produced. So it was fun to listen to. Roman Flugel, All the Right Noises. It's on the compact label, so that tells you right away what it is. It's that modern electronic thing. Really well recorded. Really, actually really good. Not outstanding, but enjoyable. The guy that mastered my album, Stefan Betke, Pole, it's kind of like that. That type of electronics. Kind of percolates. I hadn't listened to any Tangerine Dream in a long time. So this was really enjoyable. Poland, the Warsaw Concert. This is really good. Tangerine Dream has mutated over the years from what they were originally to where they are now. And this, you could say, is maybe a transitional sound or a midpoint in their sound development. This is good. This is good. Old Prague album from Germany is a reissue. Really good. Icarus. Shades of Vandergraaf Generator and King Crimson, and really getting it right. Icarus. Only one album that I know of, and it's like, man, these guys are really good. Why? Pretty jazzy too. They can play. I think this is the last one. A couple more. Old favorite. Always loved the Japanese flavor of the members of Yellow Magic Orchestra. Rest in peace, Sakamoto and Yukihiro Takahashi. This is his album, What Me Worry. He does George Harrison's It's All Too Much, or the Beatles, whatever. It's All Too Much. I love his version on here. And he really had all the elements to break into mainstream, I think, success. I don't know why it happened. Was he too Japanese? I don't know. This album is amazingly good. This is a keeper, but it's like, it just don't really take off. Charles Earland, Odyssey, the organist. It's kind of like, sounds like music that you could hear in a small club on the black side of town, like at a corner bar that people know, and musicians will go and play for a weekend for the locals. And it's just kind of sipping music. There's good players on here, but it just kept going and didn't really stand out. I mean, like Ron Carter's on here, John Abercrombie, Michael Urbanek. He's got the players on here, you know. So it was enjoyable, but it's like it's like I was hoping for a little more, but I keep it. I keep it. Here's another oddity. I'm almost done here. That I keep. The Cowsills, the band that inspired the Partridge Family show. Captain Sad and his Ship of Fools. In here, it's like that time period where pop music was, well, pop music is always looking to maximize the market. And so there's nothing psychedelic about this record, but it looks kind of like, oh, maybe we can appeal to young hippie type kids with that cover. It's a keeper. It's I didn't listen to very much of it, but it was like, okay, I have it, let's put it on. Captain Sad. On Facebook yesterday, this is another thing I like about social media, is that people who are there are really there. So I follow Nile Rodgers and Adrian Belew, and yesterday Adrian Belew posted a picture that he said he had never seen before of him in the studio working with Peter Gabriel and Nile Rodgers. Consequently, they were working on this track, Out, from the movie Gremlins. Now, what was cool is that Adrian Belew said he didn't have a copy of it, didn't know if it had ever come out. And so I piped up and said, hey, I have it on 12-inch. And so I played it yesterday. And you can hear the Nile Rodgers treatment here. But other than that, it's a bit of a throwaway track for Peter Gabriel. And you can hear Adrian Belew's elephant type of sounds on the guitar on that track. I think that's what I have to show. So I hope it's a good weekend. Curious to see, well, I'm curious all the time, but I'm hoping, and maybe I'm wrong to hope, but I'm hoping that something will happen in Jimmy Kimmel, that this suppression of free speech is dealt with. This is wrong, what's going on. And it's just wrong. Okay, people. These are dark times, and so I can't help but to talk about them because things are just really shitty. So anyway, try to have a good weekend. Family, you know I'm thinking about you.